Get away.
Oh, okay. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another, what are these, webisodes? Is that
Yeah,
right?
we can call it that.
Of iPhone to iTunes.
Woo!
We listened to the original iPhone recording or demo and kind of talk through the process of where we landed on some of this stuff. So this is Devil on My Shoulder.
Woohoo!
I would love to know, Ryan, what was your inspiration for writing this song? Because it's a little bit different than some of the other stuff.
Yeah, I have nothing like this song that I've ever written even since then. But the song is based on specifically one song by the band America called 3 Roses, and I just loved the rhythm of the acoustic in that tune. I mean, I grew up loving my parents' generation of music: the Eagles, Steely Dan, James Taylor, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, that whole like 70s folk rock kind of era, and I love the vocals of it and I love the guitar work of it. And so that America album is just really, really good, and I love the production on it. And the story, I have no idea where the story came from. I mean, I know that I was living at Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City with Straight No Chaser for like a full summer. Back in 2011, we had a sit-down residency out there, and I just had a lot of time on my hands. I had a new guitar that I had bought, and I just started kind of sitting in that kind of space on the guitar, and then that riff came along. I was all right, let's see what happens with this. It was sort of a creative challenge where it was like, what if I wrote a song that is a total random story? Like, I have no idea where the story came from or even what it's about. Honestly, I have no clue.
Right.
But yeah, I think I was just in that vein of like all those sounds from the music that I listened to as a kid of my parents' generation started coming back and sort of informing the songwriting process.
Yeah.
And so once I had the hook of I Got a Devil on My Shoulder, Baby, I was like, okay, then I wanted to really stack the harmonies to make it sound like that era.
Yeah.
And so the way the harmony structure is was really much like an America song or even a Little River Band song, which I grew up listening to as well. So it wasn't like coming up with it on the spot. I think it was decades of information that finally had a
just influence.
Yeah, like a lane to swim in, so to speak.
Okay, so then let's take a listen to what you kind of came up with 7 years ago.
Oh boy, this ought to be good.
Yeah. I have pulled up the demo.
You've got it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. This is from a hotel room in Atlantic City, New Jersey. On kind of a crappy mic.
Driving out into the western sun will make a man grow old.
It's so nice.
Too many miles upon a high black top will make his heart grow cold.
It's kind of clean. It needed some grit.
There's a letter that she wrote him on the dresser waiting for him, yeah, when he comes home.
No idea what this story is about.
But it sounds cool.
Thanks.
Won't ever see it 'cause the highway owns
So let's hear the
his soul.
vocals.
Yep.
And he's singing, I got a devil on my shoulder, baby. I picked him up on the side.
I think there's 5 background parts.
He's got himself a lovely señorita.
I like that high one.
Yeah, it's
cool.
We didn't put that in the final version.
No, but I like it.
Okay, I've got a story about this.
Okay. So that's kind of where
He left his
So I needed another section. Yeah, so it's like, I got a devil on my shoulder, baby. That's the same chords as the verse, but then I needed another little interlude to get from the end of the chorus to the second verse.
Okay.
And so that chord is a A minor 9 chord. It's actually in one of my favorite John Mayer songs.
Okay.
And it just happened to fit where I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I kept it. I went down a whole step. And that ends on the 5 chord going back into, or the 4 chord going back into the A minor. So it's like, the way that happened was kind of cool. And then I think I remember even figuring out note by note, string by string, what notes those were. Because I had no idea what the chord was. But I was like, I like the sound of it. And then I basically sang those notes. And I think in the final version, what we did was we restructured the harmonies to make it make more sense. So yeah, I had totally forgotten that high harmony was even in there.
Well, and I feel like even with the demo, you did a really good job of making it sound like it would have been from that era. They used a decent amount of reverb.
Yeah.
So it was kind of washy and...
Right. Oh, yeah. And with my vocals, man, like typically in my demos back in that era, like in 2011, I was double or triple tracking all those harmony parts and just like panning them and tons of reverb. And I was like, that'll sound good. But so, yeah, that kind of gave us a foundation to work on when I brought the song to you to work in the studio.
All right. So now that we've heard the iPhone version, let's take a listen to the version that's going to be going to iTunes.
Great. That little pan flute is awesome. That's Matt's computer doing a pan flute noise. So we added drums.
We weren't going to.
Yeah, originally we just had it like congas, right?
Mm-hmm. Now I immediately hear that the vocal's a lot more snarly.
Yeah. It's also sitting with the song for 7 years and figuring out how it should go. Sure. When I step behind the mic, it's like, I know how this needs to sound now. Like the emotion behind it, I've been sitting with it for a while.
So this part, going into the chorus, there's a triple vocal here.
Yeah. Yep.
And on the banjo and dobro is Tim Wright.
Tim has played on a ton of my stuff since probably the top of 2017, I think, man. He's just so incredible.
Yeah.
Randy Melson on bass, me on 6-string, and did we have 12-string on this?
Yes. Yeah, it's panned wide.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll let you keep going. Turn it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember too when Randy sent the bit, because before we didn't have any drums.
Right.
We didn't have drums, so we just had
like software congas and perk, right?
Yeah, and it sounded cool, but I think you were like, man, I just really wanted to punch more, and I was trying to be reserved a little bit in the sense of making sure that we weren't overdoing anything.
You like anytime I will bring a song that's like, hey Matt, this song has been informed in a little bit by this song. You've always been very careful to be like, okay, let's try to make it sound like 3 Roses by America, and you'll kind of A/B it with the EQ and all that. But I think we've come to a point where it's like, okay, let's move past that to make it more of our sound.
Keep going. I'm going to pause this.
Yeah, sure.
I want to hear this next section.
And so, you're like, I think I'm just going to lay down some drums. I remember coming into the studio after you had laid it down. You're like, what do you think of that? And I was like, oh man, this takes it to a whole other level. Like when that chorus hits, I wanted it to like take off the cliff and just like, here we go. And big and expansive. And I think you even added like a big bass drum hit right at the top of the chorus.
Big bass drum hit. And I also, the drums were tricky because I didn't want it to be just a straight, simple groove. It had to be a little bit more percussive, and we ended up taking out a lot of the conga stuff.
Right.
Because the toms were kind of
It was too busy, and plus with the guitar, you've got rhythm already in there. You've got all these little separated like 8th and 16th notes, and then you've got a little triangle in the background. I think you've got him in the left channel.
Yep.
And then you've got a shaker in the right channel, which is pretty consistent with that America track too.
Yes.
You were like, all right, I'm going to put the triangle over here, shaker over here. So it has that 70s vibe to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember you being like, I didn't know exactly what to lay down with the drums because I didn't want it to be too busy. And then you've got the vocal on top of that.
Yeah.
So creating the space for everything to sit well in the track.
And the coolest part about this was it really started with Randy's bass playing. And when he first sent the bass stuff, I honestly felt that it was a little too busy. Mm-hmm. But as we were conversing, and as Randy was talking to me, he was saying, hey, this is what they used to do back in the 70s.
Yeah.
If you pull it up and listen to it, that's what they used to, they'd have a lot of stuff like that, and that's kind of what it's doing.
And without those other elements in, it sounded busy, but with them in, it's like perfect. So he had the foresight to know, like, no, this will sound really, really good in the mix of all of that. Yeah.
So as we continue, the next section coming up is the guitar solo.
Okay.
Which I really like, and this is just more of an engineered mixed side of it. What I really like is the attack and the pop of the strings that you're doing.
Yeah.
But how they sit right with everything in that frequency
because
range.
it's octaved, right? Like we did one pass, and then we had the octave on top of it. And I remember Tim, the dobro player and the banjo player on the tune, he was like, is that on a 12-string? I was like, no. And when that level of a guitar player told me, he's like, that guitar solo is really good. He's like, who did that? I was like,
I did.
A little side note, this is the first guitar solo of mine on any of my recordings that I've ever released. So
well, maybe we should keep that in mind.
I think so. Turn it up. I love that big bass hit too. You got me digging here.
Yep.
A little harmonic.
And then Randy follows the vocal.
Yeah.
And the band comes back in and locks in.
Can you pull it back to where that third verse starts? And like, I want them to hear like what Randy does to match the vocal.
Yes.
It's so cool.
It's really cool.
And then he
it's
does
not
like
anything
this.
I would have ever thought of.
No, at all. And like that's when we first heard it, we're like, oh, what's he doing? But then he throws everything else in there. It's like that fits perfectly. He also hits this really cool harmonic, and then he joins back up in that higher frequency. He's such a good bass player.
There's a funny story with that harmonic hit, and I'll come back to it, but we won't like overload it. Oh, that's too far. Oh, that's too far. Okay, so here's the end of the solo of the verse.
This car broke down as the sunset over the river.
When the groove comes back, it's great.
Harmonic.
He pulled a long draw from his whiskey bottle fire.
Like how he would have thought to do like I'm gonna do a harmonic and then grab it when the vocal comes back in and make like he's just on a whole different level, man.
Yeah. So funny story about that harmonic. It's subtle in the track, but it's there.
Yeah.
Tim was out recording and he's got the headphones on, and I can't remember if he's doing dobro or banjo, but he's got the headphones on, and he's like, man, there's some feedback going on out here. What is that noise? And I'm trying to serve the musician and figure it out. So I'm like turning stuff down, and I finally figured out that he was hearing the harmonic. It sounds like feedback
because it does sit on that note. And I love it. It's like, no, that's supposed to be there.
So when he's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Got it.
Let's go. And so I think probably, between doing the recording and sending out tracks and all that stuff, I think we probably finished this song in maybe 8 to 15 hours, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Total, just focusing on it.
Yeah, and getting it like radio ready or iTunes ready, I mean, is a process in and of itself where if you've got the master file done, you sent me an MP3 and a WAV, got artwork for it all designed, got that in high-res digital, and then the service that I use is called CD Baby. They're out in Portland, Oregon, a great company. I've been working with them for a decade on all my stuff. They do physical manufacturing and digital as well. And so for this, it was just going to be a digital single. And so with CD Baby, you pay, a certain fee based on how much of everything that you want. And then you say, this is when it needs to come out. And then you upload everything. They check it. You check it again. And then you hit green light. And on midnight of, the release day, it pops up magically on iTunes. And,
I think, this song came out today. And it was like 12:05 last night.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
It's pretty cool when it pops up. It's like,
yeah, it was cool. It was very cool.
It's a fun process though, like bringing a song into the studio, not just getting to work with a friend, but like an engineer and producer who can kind of catch the vision and then make it go beyond even what as an artist, your original vision was.
Yeah.
And then to be able to say, check this song out, post it on social media, send it to friends, and like they can actually hear it. It's a really fun process as an artist to like. It's kind of like a baby. It's like, this is my kid. Like, this is my song. This is part of me artistically and creatively, and then the world then hears it. So,
well, to go from a song back in, what was it, 2011?
2011, yeah.
So that was when it was conceived, so to speak.
Right,
and then, to be here on the release date with it is pretty cool to go from iPhone to iTunes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They grow up so fast.
All right, friends. Well, thanks a bunch for checking it out, and we'll see you next time on iPhone to iTunes. I'm sure I'll watch and go, I should have talked about this.